There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Here on a Saturday. Good to see you all, wherever you are calling in from, whether you are calling in here live to Zoom or you are watching this replay. Welcome to everyone. So, I've been in this business for about 10 years. And I have built in Denmark to start with and the United States. And after 10 years, I can honestly say I am bubbling more than ever before, because I'm even more excited about the next 10 years, because you see so much happening in Zinzino. Because we're growing where we're at, we get more and more stories with each meeting that we're at. And we see so many people hitting new titles, and we see the growth of Zinzino. I think it's really exciting. So we're going to bring on here the founder of the company, the guy who has so much vision, and he just got back from the ambassador trip. And so I think he's flying high in more ways than one. Hey, Orjan, co-founder, Orjan Saele. Welcome, Orjan, to the call.
Well, thank you so much. And for those that don't know me, I work in the field as a partner, just like everyone else. I have no board position, no management position, and no basic pay. I work for the commission plan only. So if anybody gets confused of that, we do have a large ownership, but we're in the field. So excited to be here with you, and excited to see a lot of people that I haven't connected with in a while that is doing so well right now. And that's, of course, always exciting when people do really well. And also you're seeing the growth in North America is exciting every month. Every time I open reporting numbers, I see that things are really moving in the right direction. And if we kept up just the growth rate that we have right now, and I think if you go to our financial reporting, that includes a lot of different things, okay, to the public market. Is something called IFRS. And if you're used to counting apples and pears, it never adds up, okay? So if you did IFRS accounting when kids were gonna learn 2 + 2, 2 + 2 is sometimes 5, sometimes 4, and sometimes 3. So if you look aside from that, which is the public number and it's an international standard, we're right now at the 50% growth rate. And if we keep that up, there is no limit to how big this team can be within a few years, because that is what we define as a hyper growth company. So anything above 40% annualized is a hyper growth company. And if you take hyper growth company, and I don't want to go into the exact details, but let me just give you an example. If we said that we did an average this year of let's say 600,000 US a month, I think that's in the ballpark where we are right now. I think we'll end much higher than that. We've for sure had months that was higher than that, and that's times 12, 7.2. And then I add 1.5 as a factor, and then I say, okay, where are we 5 years from now? So 5 years from now, we would be at 54 million. And if I said where are we 10 years from now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, another 5 years, we'd be at 415 million just in the US market. So I just want you to realize how well you're doing and how exciting it is for me to see those numbers.
Well, Orjan, I think one of the things is also because of the fantastic products. I mean, we're doing meetings every day and hearing new stories, and they're heartwarming stories, and they actually can make you tear up. But also because you're in the field, and here in North America, Art Jonek is also in the field, and together, I think that's actually what makes it so powerful, is you have a powerful product and a powerful company and a fantastic corporate team that together really make this drive and we've got it so good right now. It's like the perfect time to get started in Zinzino.
It is, and I want to add to that we're debt-free, because the world is in a shakeup. And you mentioned the ambassador trip, and I had a hour-long lecture about the downturn of the economy and what's happening in the stock market globally, what's happening in everybody's homes. I mean, I'm Norwegian, so you should think that in Norway everything is well, because we've got the single biggest like government fund in the world per capita, above anybody else at this point. We're the seventh largest oil exporter in the world, and we barely have people living here, 5 million people. We're the largest natural gas exporter in Europe, outside of Russia, that doesn't export very much to Europe right now for the reasons known. And you should think that, well, their people should be thriving. If you look at our stock market, we haven't had a downturn. We have actually had a growth in our stock market so far this year. But that's the overall picture, and overall picture might some places still look good, even though I do think everywhere is heading for a recession. But on the ground, in people's homes, in people's family, the increase of the interest rate is taking money out of their pocket. We've had an increase in the energy bill, the electric bill that people have to pay every month, that even with the subsidizing of the government, it's still up 300%. And if they didn't subsidize it, which is what they do in Norway when something gets out of control, it would have been up 1,000%. And some of us that have bigger homes, we don't get the subsidy. So I literally in August paid 10 times more than in August 2 years ago on my electric bill. But Norwegians are known for another thing as well, and that is that we have as many cabins as we have houses. And that's not quite true, but it's a joke. Well, none of those cabins are going to be used this winter, because whoever is producing the snow, artificial snow, to have a long season is not going to afford that because of the electric bill. Whoever has the cabins, well, they've got their loans, but there is no subsidization of the electric bill of the people that own the cabin. So it's literally going to be empty, and those that used to rent them won't rent them, because paying the electric bill of 1 week in the mountains when it's below 20 is more money than what you used to pay in rent. And that's the shakeup that is happening in Norway. It's happening across Europe. It's happening across America. It's happening everywhere. And then you could say, so how in the middle of that can I be so bullish on our opportunity, so insanely confident that we will be growing and we will be thriving in the middle of it? Well, on one side, I just want to say, I don't celebrate what I'm going to say now, even though I celebrate it. And that's an oxymoron, okay? So I don't celebrate it because it's harmful for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to go through tough things. A lot of people is going to be emotionally wounded and financially wounded. And I don't like that. But on the flip side of that, the people that are inside of Zinzino is going to gain from what's happening because of the positioning that we have. And I'll celebrate what we're able to do, and then I will mourn for the people that are not able to do the same. And that's why what's so important with what Carla said, we've got like a product in place, affordable. I mean, there is nowhere on earth you get more benefits inside of your body for $39 than in this very product. It just isn't anywhere else when you talk about the health food category. So this is like incredible product, incredible pricing. Then on top of that, you can spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars, And you still have, I didn't find our balance tester. I put it under, it was on the other side of the desk. And have no documentation for why you spent the money. So not only are we affordable and like, I would say literally on the cheap side. I mean, if you compare this to like my last hotel night in Munich, I was down in Munich, Germany. I used to be able to get a hotel for 90 euros a night. I didn't get from the airport to the hotel 28 minutes for 90 euros in a taxi, or actually that's what I paid taxi. So I didn't, so like I was out of 2 months of oil before I even reached the hotel, and the hotel was like 200 instead. So if you look at what you get for $40 or $39, it's pretty incredible. And then we document it on top of everything like no other product out there. Then in top of that, we've got everything put together, great marketing. I mean, you pay $10 in shipping, and then you get $10 worth of product for what you paid. So you paid nothing. I mean, there is so many things in this that is just incredible.
And it's also a necessity, Orjan. I mean, that's what I think. It's not just something that's like a luxury you should maybe have, and it's an okay price. It's actually something when people understand what we have, they need it, they have to have it. And once we know it, as Art's writing, it's not this, you know, obligation. It's a responsibility we have to get the news out, because people just don't know. That's the only reason. And the more people know, the more people are starting the product. And the more they're starting the product, they get the stories and they really dig into why it's working. And then we're sold. It was the same thing that happened to me 10 years ago. And now the company is just definitely working about it. So we have so much.
I haven't had a single person that joined the company from earlier profession of selling nutritionals that isn't absolutely wowed about how many testimonials they get. They've never seen anything like it. And that's people that used to put people on 200-300 euros or dollars a month on products, and they get more out of a $39 product. That's and the documentation to go for that. Yeah. But then further with logistics working, owning our own manufacturing with no debts. Having a debt-free company, we don't owe anybody anything, and so on. So when everything then comes across, there is going to be a lot of struggle also in our profession during this time. Lots of companies are going to go and either close their business or being sold. In fact, last week, I've never seen more transaction in our market through my 29 years than what I saw last week, and there is a ton more to come. People are going to have to increase prices to levels, which is going to be insanity for some of those people. And that will lead a lot of people to seek out a new place. And that's where we get to maybe have that winning card in the middle of that, where they seek out you. And that's kind of what I want to talk about. I've covered a little bit the big picture of where we're going. Well, I think 10 years from now, we could be doing 100, 400, 500 million a year in the US. That's the growth rate we have points to 405 in 10 years. If it goes up, it becomes more. If it goes down, comes a little bit less, but that's where we're headed. So that's the big.
It's that way in the global market too. I mean, we can see it's growing absolutely everywhere. You know, and from when I started Orjan, just being in the Scandinavian countries, to 10 years later, and you can, you know, talk to people about these products in over 100 countries. I mean, seriously, the growth has been exciting, but we haven't even scratched the surface. Most of these countries are barely pre-launched, soft launched, and we're really going to get the word out. So I'm going to let you tell more about Zinzino and the future. What you want to say?
Yeah. But I think somewhat we've covered the future. We've covered where we are as a world crisis, and all of that is good. But then the question is, okay, how do I, meaning how do you as a partner position yourself rightly in this, and what are the few things that we either got to reinforce or learn, depending if you knew it from before or not. I think most of it, you will be knowing most of what I'm talking about, but some of it, it might be a new thing. And the thing that I wanted to bring up was, sorry, Carla, it wasn't exactly what you wanted me to bring up, okay? It's in the same area, okay?
Oh, no, actually, this is exactly what we had said, because, you know, there's the potential is there, but some people are growing faster than others. And I know, you know why. You know, because you're the field person, what is it people can do to position themselves to get the biggest part of that? So absolutely.
Yeah, and you asked building depth, and I did a training on that, but I'm going to do it a little bit different for this meeting, and that is that I think simply what needs to be implemented at this time, if you haven't already done it, okay? Many of you are doing this, but I just want to reinforce it, and that's what I call one of the most important questions. And in every conversation you have, if it's with your team, or if it's with a prospect, or if it's with somebody you know that you want to turn into a prospect, this question can be used, and it can be used more effectively than maybe we've used it until now. And it's a very simple question. It's not a difficult question. So the question, I'll give you the question, and then I'll dig into how I use it. And that is, who do you know? So the very beginning of our business is that I say, hey, let's write a list of 100 names. That's literally just the question, who do you know? So this is integrated into our system, that who do you know, that's what we start with. But who do you know could be something that could be a linchpin or some springboard into something bigger. Because if you would turn around, let's say that you've talked to people on your list a few times. I've got a few people I've talked to on my list. Some of those people might be in other companies. Some of those people have moved on to new professions. Some of them I haven't talked to for a few years. So if I strike up another conversation with them, and I simply, yes, always want to get them to a meeting, but even if they don't get to a meeting, I'd say, who do you know? Okay, let's say that it could be somebody that is in our team, but we're not getting the meetings out of them. Do you get what I mean? Do you have anybody in your team that isn't booking meetings, and they, of course, you know that they know people. They know that they know people, but they're like coming with all of these, I don't know if I should call it excuses or fairy tales. It's a combination of the two, you know, about why this isn't happening. So if you turn around to them and say, well, I just want to have today a conversation about who do you know? And then you go into some of the more specifics, and that is, who do you know? And then you attach a profession to it. So if you are very good at the product, and you know exactly how to present the product, a very good thing to say is, who do you know that is working inside of the health profession? And then you might go down to the specific, who do you know that is an acupuncturist? Who do you know that is a massage therapist? Who do you know that is a doctor, and so on? So that's the specific of the profession. Then you have the other aspect of it, and that is that when we have growth like we have now, it's not only going to be in Minnesota. We're spreading across the entire continent, and we're getting people everywhere. And I see that there's a lot of people here that I don't know, because we have spread across the entire continent. But who do you know that lives in, and then you mention the specific city of interest or the specific state of interest. And this will trigger people to come up with names that they don't naturally put on their 100 list, or people that if you ask somebody from a referral, that they wouldn't naturally come up with these names. When you become specific, it triggers in the brain. So if I said, who do you know that lives in, let's see, Charlotte? Who do you know that lives in St. Louis? Who do you know that lives in San Diego? Who do you know that lives in Washington State or Washington, D.C.? So when I say that, it's going to trigger people's memories. And then it's also, who do you know and country? Because we're not only in America. Carla's got a huge team over in Europe. She's got probably, I think she's got 14 countries all in all, but good sized groups in 3-4 European countries. So our fastest growing market right now, if you look at the sizable markets, are Germany. So who do you know that lives in Munich? Who do you love that, and who do you know that lives in Frankfurt or in Germany? You could turn around, and it's sometimes much easier for people to give a referral to you that is outside of the closest 10 than it's inside of the closest 10, unless you're local and you can go and see them together. And then there is the specific interest. Who do you know that is interested in soccer? Because in soccer right now, we're having some great things happening in the UK. I can't tell too much, but if everything goes the way it looks like it's going to go, we're going to have a bunch of the people are begging for autographs on the oil. In fact, I think we do have the most popular, and this is a reference that I can't give you, but it's solid because I know our doctors have been there, but the world's most popular soccer player is taking oil right now, and he loves it. So no, you might think that that's somebody else than who I think it is, but go and look at the ratings. You maybe would, somebody is writing Ronaldo, that's old. I'm talking about the people that is going to be sold for hundreds of millions, not the people that was sold, okay? I'm ahead of the curve. But so I can confirm that he does not use it. Yes, Robert Lewandowski have used it for years, and that's an official reference because we were the sponsor of the national team of Poland, and his wife is a distributor with Zinzino and is buying the product regularly. But what's happening now is at a much bigger scale. So then you could say, who do you know? And then in rugby, we just had St. Helens, the premier rugby team of UK, sign up for the full health protocols. Very exciting reference that is developing there. So that would be for those that are interested in that. And then you could go on, and let's say that we get 10 more in that category in the next 90 days. Then you understand how that could be a reference, who do you know interest. And then the last thing is, who do you know that have done something like what I'm doing today? If you call it direct selling, network marketing, whatever they call it, doesn't matter. And that's finding the people that have experience from before. And that could be the most powerful question. Because when you say, who do you know that have done something like me? I'm opening my business in Houston because Art lives there and he can help me out. Who do you know in Houston that have done something like what I'm doing now? And then you get a referral, and then you say, okay, would it be okay that I give you as a referral as I contact them? And this is both for driving volume in depth to get everyone in the team actually booking the meetings with the people that you would be the best at helping them with. So that's a magic key there. Not just booking people, but who you are the most effective of helping them with. And then also taprooting inside of that, you're sponsoring as many people as you can in the depth in both of your teams. Now, what's the potential of your business? And you probably have a pretty good compensation plan presentation, so I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to give like an overall overview of the potential that you have in your business. That's why I have the board behind me. There is my black pen. So I did find my black pen. But if we start with a very basic on your efforts, we have from 10 to 30% on everything that you sell. And this is directly based on your effort, okay? I don't think we can see that up there, can we?
No.
Okay, but take good notes. That pen was I need a new pen, so I'm going to put that on the list to get that. So, but anyway, so I'll try here 10 to 30%. But then we have on the effort of duplication, and you have your team here, you have your A line, you have your B line, and then eventually you have 25 customers. And I call this kind of like the framework that you want to duplicate. You can for sure go and have more than 25 customers, and it is possible to have, and I'm just going to draw it up, it is possible to have a line C, and it is possible to have a line D. So, but I want to center in on these two first, because that's where the basics of the business is happening. Now, if we just do it very simple, I don't want to go into credits or weeks or months or bonuses or anything like that. But I just want to look at what I call the basic, so base pay. What you make for driving volume with A and driving volume with B, getting everyone to 25 customers. So the base pay is $1,725 per week in the team commission. Doesn't include any other bonuses now. And that ends up being, for the year, $90,000 US. So that's the base pay in our plan on driving volume with A and B. On top of that, you've got your personal pay, that's the 10 to 30%, which goes to 30% when you have 100 customers. Now, if you look at on top of that, we have something I call growth pay. So when you create growth, so growth, and the growth pay is when you get a new customer in and a new volume from a partner in. It's called the CAB bonus in the compensation plan, but I'm just calling it the growth pay. And the growth pay can grow to $1,725 per week. So on top of the base pay, you've got a double up bonus. So if all you do in a year is grow, then you have the base pay and the growth pay is on the same volume. If you have lots of customers, you have the base pay, and then the growth pay is only on the new volume. Are you following me? Pretty simple. So the growth pay is $90,000 US for the year. So in growth pay and base pay, you can go and make $180,000 per year, plus your personal efforts on the customer base, which is a pretty solid, nice income from helping A and B duplicate, and they duplicate with A and B and 25 customers. So that's what we make. Now, since we can build 4 from the start, so if we now look at the base pay, could actually, by opening 2 more distributor organizations more up, the base pay could increase with another, so that's base pay from line 3, and line 4 is another $180,000 US per year. Again, the base pay, there is no growth pay on top of the 90,000. So this gives you all in all $360,000 US as a potential in the business between the base pay and the growth pay. For duplicating 25 customers, A, B, C, and D, driving 4 lines into that. So you could run for the Senate, or you could build the base pay and growth pay in Zinzino, and you come out with about the same package. But for those that are thinking big, you're saying, well, I believe Maybe Zinzino will grow 50% every year in the US going forward. We've got something which I call leadership pay. And the leadership pay is what we get on the total volume of the business. Now, most of the leadership pay is based on customers, okay? So look again, what we get for new orders from partners and new orders from customers, it's capped at $90,000 per year. That's all we pay on that effort, because that effort is mostly rewarding people in the beginning, and when you tap it out, it ends up being that number. Base pay is for everyone. And yes, there is a significant volume to achieve it, to be able to achieve the base pay of the $90,000. You have to time that with about 10, that's the volume. So you got to create a business of $1 million a year to be able to make the 90, just so we understand the principles. Now, the leadership pay is on volumes above $1 million only. So that's after you've created that kind of business, and it can go to multiple $1 million business. You could be paid on $1 million in sales to customers every month in the leadership pay, maybe even 5 million, okay? So there is a lot of volume going into it. But if you look at it just in a compensation plan of global president is created between having 4 lines, and the leadership pay from that is a total of $2.9 million when it's maximized. So the business opportunity is a very big business opportunity. This is not only to make bonuses on the 10% from customers, 20% when you're A team, 30% when you're top team. If you create duplication, you will very fast see that the base pay is growing, and you'll see that the growth pay is rewarding you nicely on top. When you drive multiple organizations, you work with several people that is frontline to you, and you keep on building that together with them, you will see that the base pay is increasing. And by doing that, you eventually get to the level where you get the leadership pay, which starts when you have $1 million or more in volume. And that leadership pay, if we do the business and grow it big, is pretty significant. Is an amazing potential in it. So I want you to capture that, and then bring that with you back to the conversation. Who do I know? So that's for you. Who do I know that I could bring into the business and leverage in under B so that they get inspired? And then having the conversation with B on who do you know that we could bring in under the person that I just brought in so that they also get excited and really start working as a team and driving depth. When we do that and we come together that way, I think that what we have seen so far is just a small beginning of what's possible with our business. Now, at the end of everything, why do I do what I do? Well, I do what I do because I love working with people, so I won't say that. Yes, I'm highly driven, I'm highly motivated, I'm a competitive person, so I do it because I'm competitive too. Yes, as a little kid, when I was 8 years old, my parents argued about the electric bill. My mom broke down and cried because they didn't have the money to pay it. And I made a decision that I wanted to be a millionaire in Norwegian kroner. So that's just $100,000 a year. But I decided I want to make that kind of money. And that was back in 1983. And I wanted to make money. I wanted to be rich, so I never would have to worry about paying my bills. So I'm financially motivated as well. I'd admit to that. But I think when I wake up in the morning after 29 years, and I've had a pretty successful career, where by the time I was 25, I was already passing that $1 million mark that a lot of people dream about. And I was very blessed at a young age. And I did have a great career even before we joined or started Zinzino. So I'd say that. But today, when I need to get up like on Tuesday morning, just after getting back from the ambassador trip, I had to get up like very early to reach like a 6-7 o'clock in the morning flight. And why did I do that? It wasn't necessary at that point. I could have done the meeting on Zoom, but I knew that if I went in person, I would have a little bit more impact. And then I flew back on the Milky Way through Europe to get back in the evening. So I had like, I think total of 13 hours in travel for one meeting, okay? That one day. What gets me up to do that? And that's the impact that this oil made on my life and the impact that I know that it will make on the world. That's what is the legacy that we want to leave. It's the impact on all the people and how we bring the world back into balance. So as you're chasing this, that is behind me, remember what's the most important. The most important is one person impacted makes it worth everything. One person impact gets our life back. And I meet those testimonials, not every day because I don't speak to people, new people every day, and people I spoke to yesterday doesn't tell it again. But every day I'm out at events speaking to new people, I get those testimonials, and it's life-changing for me every time that I go through them. And that's what I want to bring with you. Come to our annual event, either live in Europe or come to one of the hub places around America where there will be a showing for the weekend. Get impacted by some of those stories. And if you can't make that, make some of the local events, get impacted by those stories, and then go and build your own database on the 25 customers so that you get them personal. Because when you hear them from somebody other creating them, that's a wow factor, okay? You get excited. But when you feel them because you created it, it becomes a tear factor. You know what I did was important. And that will eventually give you the picture of why we boldly ask, who do you know? So that we duplicate under A and B. And then between base pay, growth pay, and leadership pay, well, you also make a financial freedom on top of everything else. My time is up, Carla.
I know.
Stop it there.
But you know, Orjan, we've got that product covered, we've got the company covered, we've got the compensation covered. But as I can see on here, you know, the mission that we're doing, we're also with a lot of like-minded people, and that community of positivity, the family feeling that we have in Zinzino, I think is unique to anything out there, any other profession at all, because we're really here to help a lot of people.
Yeah, and just one note that I forgot to mention, why will Zinzino be such a big company? And I could argue many ways, but I think the number one thing is that test-based versus guest-based is superior. It was a survey in the UK that I just read, and that survey showed that 47% of the UK population takes a supplement on a daily basis. 47%. Pre-pandemic, this was in the 20s and 30s. After the pandemic, we're at 47%. I would believe the numbers in the US is very identical, but I don't have US numbers, so I'll just go on the UK numbers. All in all, over 70% of the UK population have tried a nutritional supplement, okay? But that's the daily, 47%. Now, out of those, 99.99 something is doing it guest-based. And we know our viewpoint of omegas before we tested. It was somewhat wrong. Mine was 10.4 to 1 when I tried for 30 years to have the optimal levels of omega. I don't know what yours was, but when it was guest-based, we got it wrong. This is why test-based will overtake the nutritional industry. I don't know if it will increase it above 47%, maybe, but I do know that the 47% that is already doing it daily will want to get tested. That brings us in a 10 billion, 20 billion, 40 billion dollars a year category company easily. And that's why I'm so confident.
Well, I love that because you see the big picture of this comp plan, but what you showed, Orjan, isn't even all of it, because we didn't talk about trips, the director trip and things like that too, that people can also earn, and even getting all your products for free. So, I mean, if you add all of this up, it's win-win. And to be honest, Orjan, you know, I love the big numbers and the millions that people can make, but what I think I love even more is the stories we won't hear because people are in balance. And even though I can earn this income by helping all these people, I can help a lot of people to earn the income that's on the board behind you, because we haven't even gotten started yet. It's going to be exciting to do this, Orjan. Well, we thank you so much for founding the company and really working the field, because you know what it takes to build this. And I think we just need to follow that. There's so much happening. I'm looking forward to the future. Any last words, Orjan?
No, I think we're already 1843, so I think I'm good. I think I just want to wish you guys all the best on the journey, and thank you for the job that you're doing. Thank you for the people that you're helping. And as they say every time I go on a flight, if there is an emergency, then first help yourself. Go and be safe. There is an emergency in this world. Go and help yourself. That's how you help others. And that's why I celebrate our positioning in the middle of what's going on, because we are able to help ourselves in Zinzino. And that can be a blessing to so many people you don't know today, and you will hear their stories later.
Wonderful. Well, and everybody here, let's keep building this. We've got a huge month to finish here, probably record-breaking month, no doubt, hands down, going to be incredible. And week after, we have the international annual event. I hope everybody has your ticket. And if you can't be there, I mean, if you can be there, be there. If you can change your plans, be there. If you can't be there, make sure you have your online ticket. Find out where your local events are and join them, because we just are getting started. So thank you, everybody, for joining. I'll let everybody unmute. Thank you for your time today. We will see you again next week with Dr. Johnson. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Blessings.
Orjan.
Thank
See
you.
you.